it doesn't matter if we ate the exact same and we worked out the exact same for years, we would never look the same. Genetically, we just never would look the same. Weight wise, how long I've been lifting, like who this person is, what they do for work. Like, this is my job. This is like what I do all day. And so I guess like the first thing I would do would just be like find goals that fit your body and your needs and wants rather than searching or comparing yourself to anyone else that you see online.
Hey, welcome to the Bodies Built Better podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Tan, and I'm so thrilled you're here with me today. This show is all about human performance. But what is human performance? Well, it's actually going to be different for everyone. So it's important for me to cover everything you need to know that will contribute to your health, fitness, mindset, and overall well-being so you can perform at your best in your field. I chat with experts, athletes, coaches, authors, scientists, and so many more on the best strategies you can adopt to experience your extraordinary potential. And just before we get into the show, I just wanted to say, if you have been a long time listener or you really enjoy this episode, I would really appreciate if you could just spend 30 seconds to rate and review this show, because these are the things that really help the show grow so I can continue to bring the best people and help you get the best out of your performance every single day. So if you could do that for me, I would appreciate that so much. Now let's get back into the show. And today on the show, I chat with fitness and wellness coach Tara LaFerrara. And this was such a fun chat because I've been a big fan and follower of hers for a long time now. And it's so refreshing to see someone of great influence in the fitness space who's real and unfiltered and calling out all the BS in the industry, because as you probably know by now, there is a lot of it. She's also one of the few who is a strong advocate for building healthy relationships with yourself, with food, with fitness and movement, and seeing it as something that we get to do and enjoy and not have to do as punishment. So she's really trying to help us make this positive mindset and lifestyle shift for the long term. Today we talk about how to navigate through all this social media BS that is constantly in our feeds and faces, how to set goals that are specific to our needs that feel good. We have some fun busting all the crazy myths of the industry, and we talk about the mindset shifts that you need to adopt to overcome your fears of stepping into the gym, or more specifically, the weights area. And we all know that can be a little intimidating at times, but you belong there, especially in that squat rack, just like anyone else. This was a super fun chat, so without further ado, let's dive into this episode with Tara LaFerrara. Tara, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Welcome to the Bodies Built Better podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's so good to have you. You are a fitness and wellness coach, and I've been following you for a long time, and what I love about you is that you're so good at calling out all the BS that is out there that women are subjected to. I mean, who knew you had armpit fat that you had to lose and there's a special exercise for it? I mean, how ridiculous. So thank you for calling out this crap. But also the thing that I love is the fact that, you, whilst being an incredible trainer, you advocate for healthy relationships with ourselves and food, and that's such an important message to be getting out there, especially these days. So thank you for that. I really wanted to start with your journey because I know you were a track athlete in college. How did you go from there and the challenges through that period of your life to where you are now?
Yes, and thank you for saying that about all the myths out there. Also, just got done eating a donut. So there's still you can have the donut and work out and still feel great in your body too.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. So
And who doesn't want a
I
donut?
ran. I know, right? We have this really great donut shop I'm in Austin, Texas. And I tell myself, I would literally go every day.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge donut fan, but they always get new flavors. And I'm like, you can only go every like other week or so, or else you're just gonna like go all out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I ran track in high school and college. I've been an athlete my whole life, and I was just really fast. And so you kind of go what you're good at. So I tried out for track my freshman year, went to state, and then ended up winning state in high school. Went to college for it, got a full ride, and then like as soon as I got there, it was like this freedom. I had all this freedom. I drank too much. I binge ate. I had got this really bad relationship with myself and my body. I didn't perform well on the track at all. And I kind of like lost sense of who I was. I got injured. I gained weight. My coach basically said, like, if you don't lose weight, we have to take away some of your scholarship. And at that moment, my sophomore year of college, I actually just left. I kind of ran away from it. It was a really tough moment of my life when I was 20 years old, I had to leave my full ride scholarship to come. I went back to Colorado, and that's where I grew up, and finished out my school. I got a job, and then I just had this like huge loss of identity. I was an athlete my entire life, and then it was just kind of taken from me. And well, I ran away from it, but it was just lifted from me, and so from then on, it was just like this really tough couple years of like getting myself out of this really negative space. I didn't have a lot of support and positivity around me. I wasn't in fitness by any means. All I really knew how to do was run fast and turn left. So I didn't know much else about other things. And it took several years of kind of getting out of that to I ran long distance, I ran marathons and did a lot of that, but I didn't like running, but I just like did it because that's all I felt like I knew. And then this a friend of mine was just asking me to go to this workout for a while. And I was like, no, I can't do it. It was just like this outdoor workout at a park. And I went one time and I was hooked. Like it was so much fun. It was like a boot camp kind of style. Kettlebells were out on the field and boxes for like box jumps. And it was just the camaraderie was so much fun. The community was so amazing. And I was like, okay, like I know there's more out there for me. And I kind of had this like weird switch of like, you know, hanging out with that crowd and like being around those people. And I just kept going to these classes that turned into a gym. And then I ended up like 6 months later getting my Group X instructor certification, group fitness. And then, I had this full-time job where I would teach in the mornings and then go to my work and then teach in the afternoons and just for a long time, for several years. And then I actually got laid off from my job and I was like, I've got to make fitness my full-time thing. So it's been about 7 years since 6.5 years since then. And I'm now a personal trainer, full online fitness instructor, trainer, kind of mindset coach, all the things now. But it was a journey to get where I am today. But I'm so thankful that I was able to go through that and push past it. So yeah.
That's such a really great thing to have pointed out as well when you said, you actually went to this training session and you enjoyed it. Light
Yeah.
bulb moment. Yeah, you can enjoy fitness and this stuff.
Yeah.
When you finally got qualified and you got into this industry, were you already aware, having come from a competitive athlete background, that there were all these toxic messages out there? Or did it become more prevalent
Mm,
once you got in the industry?
Not at all, honestly. Like I go back to like when I first started my Instagram account, which is when I used to run, and I would literally just go and post a photo of me like going on a run to just get other people to inspire and motivate other people to like also run. And then when I finally got into like group fitness instructing and all this stuff, it was probably a couple of years before I realized all the things even I was saying earn those pancakes, do it for the beer afterwards. Yoga and mimosas, like everything is surrounded by earning your food or some sort of like reward for it. And there's just so much that I didn't even know I was saying or hearing for probably a couple of years before I was like, holy crap, like there's so much wrong in the fitness industry. And now I'm like, I'm just try to like get it out of my vision. It's not even, I don't even like see it on my feed or anything anymore. People actually send me stuff now because I'm not a part of it. But you realize how bad it is when you step out of it. You're like, oh wow, this is so like toxic. There's so much there.
Exactly. And I really love
Yeah.
that you said that you've pulled back away from that. And I feel like that's exactly what we all need to be doing is just
Yeah.
closing off ourselves from all of that terrible messages out there. So,
Yeah.
how did you manage that for yourself, but then also for the people that you were training?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because for myself, when I got caught up in it, it was as I was kind of leaving the track world, although it's been so long since then. Those were the glory days, back in college. I don't know how old you are, but I'm like in my mid 30s now, and I'm like, wow, that was so long ago. Like,
Yeah.
it feels so long ago that like social media wasn't really a thing. And
Yeah.
so it was, when I first really started getting into training and was there for a couple of years, that's for me, it's like I've always had really big legs and a big booty, and I've always tried to make them smaller. I've always tried to like fit in with everyone else. And I'm just genetically, I'm just more muscular person. And I also like to lift weights, which makes me stronger and more muscular. But that's always made me like media in general has always made me want to fit into this really small box. I like always felt like I wanted to feel smaller and less like proud and more bold in my space. And so I think getting around other women that did look more like me or putting myself out there a little bit more so that people can really relate to those things, that helped me a lot. And then also I think with my clients, it's just they relate to my story or my vulnerability. And of course it's not nothing changes overnight. It takes years and years of mindset changes and shifts for all the things we've been told all of our lives. But it's a constant work in progress. Like your mind needs reps just as much as the reps you put in the gym.
Yes,
So
that's hugely important. And
yeah,
yes, you're so relatable, and that was one of the things that I really connected with you first is that you say all the stuff that we're all thinking that we don't say.
yeah,
So it's nice to sort of have that that sort of relationship as well, and knowing that we're actually all thinking and feeling the same, and that we just need to be moving away from all the shit that we've been told to look like, feel like, be like, etc.
yes. A couple years ago on my Instagram, I don't know how long you've been following me, but for every Friday for a long time, I would do this thing called like Polapalooza, and it would literally just
Yes.
be like, "Did you follow it?
I love
It's been
that.
a while."
Yeah.
But every Friday, I did this thing where it was just like, I have cellulite and stretch marks and hair on my chin, and my armpits smell weird, or I scratch my head and there's weird things. Like all of these things that we think about and do and feel, but no one wants to say out loud. And I started that really just because like it related to someone. And then every week it was like, I just get these messages like, thank you for making me feel less alone. And it's like, yeah, not one of us is alone in anything that we do or think or say, but sometimes it just takes someone like me. There's plenty of other incredible content creators out there that do this, but sometimes it takes other person saying it for you to validate or feel okay about that with yourself.
Exactly, and that's what I loved about those. Not only were you calling it or sharing it, but then you'd share all the comments that you got, and obviously the
Yeah.
comments are anonymous. And it was like, oh wow, there are so many more people
Yeah.
out there feeling this or like this or do this. And yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was a comfort to know.
Yeah. And I think most of the time people see these things as flaws. And it's
Yeah.
not a flaw, it's just a part of our body. It's part of what makes us who we are. And if everyone had the exact same thing, like how boring would this life be? You know, if everyone didn't have cellulite, stretch marks, varicose veins, whatever it was, like we all look the exact same. And no one wants that. It's just wouldn't work that way. So
Mm.
I try to do that as much as I can. And even when I started doing that, I had some friends that are like, why are you sharing? This is so weird, like gross. And I was like, do you think it? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just saying what you're thinking out loud.
Yeah. Oh wow. Did they
Yeah.
eventually kind of go, actually, this is really good that you're doing this? Or is
You
it just
know,
still
there was
really
a,
weird for them?
well, there was a couple people that said something and then just never said anything again, but I still saw them watching my stories every week. I was like,
Yeah.
you're enjoying it, aren't you?
Exactly. You can relate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this and the importance of, I guess, addressing the internal before, maybe not so much before, but with whilst we, are working on the external as well.
Yeah. So you mean just how it like the way you are perceived or yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I'll let me say that, you on your website, you do group wellness or health coaching, wellness coaching. And I
Mhm.
love the first line of it. You said it's a group health coaching program to help you stop being an asshole to yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically. So,
Yeah.
with that internal, all the stuff that we think about, that that we're maybe not so happy with, but that we push aside and ignore because we think by working on the outside, how we look, is going to fix everything.
Yes. Okay. That's great. And happens all the time. And actually happened with me for a long time. I was very more like aesthetics driven. I wanted to, like I said, fit a certain mold, be smaller, like look a certain way, dress a certain way because of my peers or media or society or whatever. And it takes so long to reverse what you are told you should be or should like look like. So, for example, I have a lot of clients, a lot of women in their 40s and 50s that I work with, and that is decades and decades of telling them that they are not good enough, that they should eat fat free, or they should be on Atkins diet, or Weight Watchers, or whatever, all the things that they should have been doing for decades. I mean, they're in their 40s and 50s and they still are not happy with their bodies. And so when they come to me of like, I want to feel better in my skin and my body, it's like, we've got to go small. That is like the first thing I always say is like, you can't go from I hate my body to I love my body overnight. So I really work with a lot of women on just thought laddering. So thought coaching of like changing it to a more neutral thought. Like I have a body. I have a body. I'm an able body. I'm able to move my body. I can do this. I can do this, right? It's just a more of a neutral thought. And then we gradually make our way to the next step. And I think most times people just want to just flip the switch and they're like, well, if I change my exterior looks, I'm immediately going to feel better. But a lot of times when they change the way they look on the exterior, that doesn't do much for their insides. And so typically, like when I work with women in that capacity, we actually work just more on the mindset stuff before we even start working out. It's like mindset, walking, water, sleep, the basic awesome necessities. And then we're like, all right, let's add in a little bit of movement. I know this is going to feel great, but we've got to take these really small steps. And we're in a society that people want things overnight. They want the quick shipping and they want
Yeah,
like
exactly.
things in 1 second, you know? And so it's way easier said than done. But as I say, most of the time, it's like anything anything easy is way easier said than done. If it's hard, it's not going to be. So it's like anything worth having is worth putting in the effort and putting in the patience and putting in the reps for.
Yeah. How do you how do you help them change that mindset from this is not going to happen overnight or in a week or even in a month or two? Like this is we need to set, long sustainable shifts and lifestyle changes. How does that conversation
Yeah.
go?
It's tough, but I
Yeah.
try to relate it to something that they're doing. I try to give as many analogies as possible. For a while, I was doing a lot of like exercise cues that would like just people resonate with when it like makes sense in their brain. For example, if it's like, okay, a deadlift, you want to really engage your lats. Well, how do I do that? Okay, well, pretend like there's oranges in between your armpit and you're making orange juice out of oranges. You're like, oh, okay, oh my God, I feel it now. Every time I deadlift, I'm going to think about orange juice. So, for example, something like this, like small, sustainable, habits over time, I can relate it to their child if they have one, like they don't go from coming out of the womb to walking. They don't just go potty training right away. Oh, maybe you're a plant person. It's like, okay, you got this brand new plant. It's or the seed. And it's like we have to water it and we have to give it sunshine in order for it to bloom and to grow. And you want this like really cool vine in your room. Well, you know how long that takes. Your favorite book. Oh my gosh, it's 300 pages long. Are you going to read that in one day? Maybe if you have time, I guess. But usually it's like these really maybe 10 pages a day. And like that's how you get closer to finishing that book. It's just another just try and relate it as much as possible to other things that really make sense in their worlds that they can be like, oh, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, I can't read a 300-page book in one sitting. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, if
I mean, I don't know.
only.
Maybe
That's
some
great.
people do. Some people love to read. So I was like,
But
wait,
not in an
okay, I get
hour.
it.
If we were really relate it back to,
Yeah.
a session,
Yeah.
when when you have someone and you have this conversation and they're like, "Yep, cool, let's do this." But I'm not confident getting into the gym, or I don't want to go outside and run because I don't feel confident or the way I look.
Yeah.
How do you help them, I guess, with that confidence to step out and just do the thing?
Yeah. That's a great question because I do get this a lot. I think the first things first is if you said yes, or if you are making your way to starting a program, or you are like, I'm in, like you have already made a step. You have already taken the leap. You have already stepped 1 foot out the door. And so if you're already one step ahead, why not keep going? And it's you like I always say, just like I'm so proud of you for choosing you and wanting this. Like that is step number one. Like I like congratulations, you're awesome. Let's do this and take it really slow, right? But that's the first thing is I always like to celebrate small accomplishments, small wins. Those mean so much more than getting your first pull up. The actual act of getting the pull up is so much more badass than getting over the bar. And people don't understand, they don't realize that. But because they want the pull up right away, right? But like the weeks and months that they put into getting this pull up, and then you get it, and you're like, oh my God, like it was all worth it. Like those little steps hanging for 5 seconds to the next time you test, it's 20 seconds. And you're like, oh, it's only 20 seconds, but it's a 15-second improvement. Like that's awesome. So like I like to celebrate those wins. The other thing I really like to say is like, especially when the confidence thing is like, wear things like your clothes matter a lot. Wear things that make you feel comfortable, not what anyone else is wearing because that's what they're wearing and that's cool and trendy now. So if you want to wear sweatpants and a sweatshirt or a tank top and shorts or whatever, it's like wear the thing that makes you feel the most comfortable so that you can feel confident walking in a gym, walking outside the block. And then the third thing I would say is like ask for support in some variation of way. If you have told, let's say, me as your coach that you are taking the step, you're ready to take the leap, like literally just message me when you're out on your walk and say, hey, like I'm out on my walk. I will send you a message back cheering you on, being proud of you. I'm stoked for you because that's where you are. If you have a partner or a best friend or something, call them when you're on your walk or call them when you're on your way to the gym or, text them in that capacity. If you're in a group program, take a sweaty selfie beforehand or take a selfie, as you're walking in so that there is that accountability factor, but also other people want to support you. Other people want to support you. As always, like you're taking that step, people are there for you. And if they're not, they don't belong in your circle anymore.
Amen to
That's
that.
what I think, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that. I have to, I'm the same in the sense that, even though I've been trained in this, I still get intimidated by the gym and the weights area and so I've always found that, yeah, making sure that I do have that support network and especially a trainer who trains me has
Mhm.
really helped me then transition to, getting into the big gyms or not that I do that a lot, but yeah, training in groups and certainly gives you the confidence. So yeah, don't underestimate a trainer. Gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, how long have you been in the industry?
Well, since 2015, but
Okay.
fitness has been a part of my life for a lot longer than that.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
a long time, right? And I've been an athlete all my life, been a trainer for 10 years. And still, when I go in the gym and I see all these big bro guys lifting all this
Yeah.
weight and like the dumbbell rack is just like full of bros, I'm like, oh God, I still
Yeah.
feel a little small. Like
Yeah.
it can be very intimidating. So for someone that's brand new, like stick with something that stick with the basics, go find a trainer, find someone that you can work with, get in the corner, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Because both of us know that we are allowed to be there. Like we are allowed to be
Yes.
there and we belong there just as much as everyone else. But B, like we're all doing this for ourselves. It's like these bros that I'm talking about right now, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. They only care about themselves anyway. Like no,
Yeah.
if you really look around the gym, it's like they're looking at themselves in the mirror or at their phone. Like that's all they really care about. And so I think like having that in the confidence side of like, am I able, can I do this? Do I feel comfortable? Like, yes, you belong there just as much as anyone else. And honestly, no one really cares about you in that space in the gym.
Truth. Right there.
Yeah, they
All in
really
it for
don't.
themselves. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about goals for a moment because I mean, how much input do you have on one's goals? Because you're able to look at someone and go, I mean, someone you've been training for a while, maybe not someone that you've just met, but when they show you their goals and you go, "Oh, you're better than like you're
Mm.
capable of so much more than that." How do you get them to sort of creep out of that comfort zone that they're still comfortably in?
Yes, actually, this has happened recently with a client of mine. I always do like a little movement assessment with my clients, and they'll send me some videos. I'm like, okay, I need these 5 movements. And she was doing push-ups. And then she did one push-up and she went straight down to her knees and finished the 5 reps because I'm like, do 5 reps for everything. And I looked at that, like the first push-up, Jackie, it was like perfect. Like it couldn't have been like a better push-up. And then she went straight down to her knees to finish them. I was like, wait, what is going on here? What's the deal? And I messaged her. I was like, hey, like the first push-up looked so good. Like, what's going on? And she was like, I just like don't trust myself and I don't want to get hurt. And I'm like, all right. Like we have to do a whole like thing where I am like, first of all, yes, you can. And I know that me saying that is like, oh yeah, cool. You have to believe it yourself. But take another, like, go right now, take another video and do the push ups on your feet. And sure enough, she did 5 full push ups on her feet. And I was like, okay, take that mindset and put it into your workouts now. Like, you know that you can do that. Now we have a baseline. Let's improve from there. And I think it's a lot of women specifically are afraid of getting hurt, especially with weight when they're putting, back squats or deadlifts or something like that. They're afraid that they're not doing it correctly or that someone else is going to, come in and help with their form. They are afraid of still, unfortunately, which I'm sure we'll talk about, getting too muscular. because that's going to happen in one deadlift. But anyways, they're afraid of a lot of different things. And so getting over that barrier is tough, but it comes from a lot of just like work internally of like, can I do it? Okay, I did it. Let's keep progressing. And even if it's slow, I don't like if someone comes to me and is like, I want to do 5 push-ups, but you already did 5 push-ups, I'd be like, okay, cool. Let's just move to 10. Or let's just like, I only give them like a little bit just so, well, it depends on the person, but just so that they can be like, oh, okay, I did that. Okay. Like some people like smaller goals and some people like these like bigger things. So it kind of just depends on who they are.
Yeah. So
I
let's
don't know if
talk
that
about,
answered your question.
yeah, of course. But about the bigger goals, and even, I guess, I'm a big believer in setting large, audacious goals, thinking long term, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. But in
Mhm.
terms of the bigger goals, is there ever any time that someone's come in and you've looked at it, or even if someone's come in and gone and given you a picture of the latest influencer or
Mm.
whatever and go, I want
Yeah.
to look like that. What does that conversation look like?
Oh man.
Because
I
there's a
don't
bit
think
to
I've,
unpack in that one.
yeah, I personally haven't had, I think it's because of all of the stuff I put out on social
Of
media that
course,
I don't
yeah.
typically get a lot of that. I don't typically get someone that's like, I want to look like this. Just because I think what I put out there does not go that
That
route.
way.
I also do not consider myself a weight loss coach at all. Can you lose weight when you're working with me? Absolutely. Can you gain muscle? Absolutely. But like mine is a very holistic mindset approach to health and wellness. It is not just about how much weight you can put up or how much weight you can lose for me personally. Um, okay, but let's say if somebody came to me and said that, oh gosh, I don't even know where I would start. I would say, first of all, like it's, I posted something recently the other day that was like, you're never going to look like me. Sometimes people are like, I just want your arms, give me your
Yeah.
legs, da, da, da. And it's like, it doesn't matter if we ate the exact same and we worked out the exact same for years, we would never look the same genetically. We just never would look the same. Weight wise, how long I've been lifting, like who this person is, what they do for work. Like, this is my job. This is like what I do all day. And so I guess like the first thing I would do would just be like find goals that fit your body and your needs and wants rather than searching or comparing yourself to anyone else that you see online. And again, easier said than done. But I think the more I would tell them to unfollow those people, mute their stuff so they don't see it, so they don't like go down those routes. Um, but gosh, it's been so long since I've had someone say that. What would you say to that person?
I think you said it perfectly. Like
Yeah.
we're all different. We're all built different. Our genetics are different, and no matter how
Hmm.
much, you want to replicate what someone else is doing, yeah, you can eat the same thing, but it might not work out the same way. So, and then I
Yeah.
guess I guess there could be that deeper level of going, actually, do you want to look like that, or is there something else
Mhm.
going on? Like, what's
Yes.
so great about this that you want to be, look like, replicate, and so on? So I guess just
Totally
opening up
agree.
that conversation as to what's the why behind that, going
Yeah,
from
this
there.
is actually a great point is that sometimes people will come to me and say, I wish I could look the way I did in my 20s or pre-kids or
Mm,
whatever. And that is a totally different person. And you are no
yeah.
longer in that chapter of your life. And whether that served you or not, like even if you, because I get a lot of women that are like, I was in the best shape of my life when I was running and I did this and that. And I was like, and I was like, did you have energy? Did you sleep? Did you actually like yourself? And most of those questions have a no. And
Yeah.
so it's like, just because you look a certain way doesn't mean you actually really want that. Just like what you said, like, what is the reason why you want to look like that? You weren't happy, you weren't healthy, and you never slept or never had any energy. So you want to go back to that?
Mm,
Or do you want to create the body and feeling that you actually really desire, you know?
Exactly. The
Yeah.
feeling. It's
Mhm.
so easy to forget about that and focus on the look. And it, just
Oh my
like you
God.
said, how do you actually feel? Or how did you feel?
Oh my gosh, right. Yeah, yeah. Most of the time it's not great. It's
Yeah.
really not great. It's just the way they look, and so much of or what they look like is based off of how they outside exterior feel, not how they actually feel inside.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why I absolutely despise scales. I
Yeah.
mean, I still have this conversation with my mum. Bless her, I love her, but but she'll tell me that she got on the scales and it said this number. I'm like, but you're the fittest you've ever been. You're training. You train
Yeah.
really well, and like, how do you feel? You're like, oh yeah, I feel pretty good. I feel strong. I'm like,
Yeah. You're
that
like,
trumps
throw it.
everything.
Yeah. Isn't that such a bummer?
Yeah,
I know. I feel
yeah.
like for our
She's getting
parents'
much better
age, I
now.
just good. Did you
She's
get rid of
training.
it?
Oh, do you know what? I don't know that she has. I'll double check that.
Do you train her
No, I
or does she have a
don't. No,
trainer?
my sister trains her. My sister
Oh,
is
that's
also a
so
trainer.
fun. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
My mom's in another state, but she like has yet to just follow any of my programming. I was like, you know what? You've got your thing. She likes the Peloton. I'm like, okay, you've got your thing. But I love the fact that your sister trains your mom. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about falling into old habits. So you've got someone, they're doing really well, they're following a program, but maybe they've fallen off the wagon, so to speak.
Yeah.
How do you chat with them about just getting back on board?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The falling off the bandwagon, we can put that in quotes too, is I
Yeah.
just don't love it. There's a lot of sayings right now that are just they're very hurtful. They're very because this is what I hear and what a lot of my clients hear. I fell off the bandwagon. It's been a week or a month or however long, and I'm not doing what I should be doing. And I have failed. I have failed and I am a failure. And why would I start again if I know I'm going to fail again? Or it's just a vicious like this is just who I am. These are the thoughts that come up with these people. And typically I don't like that saying because like there is no wagon. It's your life and it ebbs and flows. And there's busy times and there's slower times and there's really high energy times and there's seasons that work best for you and your bodies change and evolve and there's so many different aspects to your training that can change and that can feel good or not feel good. And so typically when someone comes to me and says that, I say, first of all, how long has it been? It's usually not that long.
A
Anything less than
weekend.
like, I know, a week. Anything less than like a couple months, I'm like, cool. What did you fall off of? You just like, whatever. Life happened, like anything can
Yeah.
happen. Life happened. Um, and I just say, okay, cool. Like, why not start tomorrow? They're like, oh, well, tomorrow's Friday. Okay, well, what does Friday mean? Like, it's just another day. Our bodies don't know that it's Friday or Monday or August 1st or whatever day of the week it is. It's just like, just like get out and go and move your body. And most of the time, people will be like, well, I used to do like 6 times a week. And I'd say, cool, start with two. And they'll be like, well, I can't do like that's like nothing. And I was like, it's more than what you're doing right now, right? Like there has to be I have this like bluntness sometimes with clients that I'm just like, okay, great. Like
Yep.
let's go. Let's just start. There's nothing. And then, if it happens again, I say, okay, like maybe let's switch around some of your training. Maybe you're just not loving this style. Let's give you something else. Let's try out a class. Let's go hang out with Jackie's mom and do a workout with her. Like, we've got to just find movement that you enjoy again. And sometimes it is totally different than what you did 2 months ago or when you were on the wagon. It's totally different. And that's cool. That's great. We ebb and flow. Just like I was saying, I used to be a runner and like I didn't love it, but I did it. Now I will never run. You won't ever see me running ever. Never. I won't get on a spin bike. I hate spin class. Like there's things I just don't like. And that's okay. Just because I don't like them doesn't mean anyone else has to not like them. So find a movement you enjoy again, starting small again, and just building back up. But like, even for this person, this random person, I probably would never get them back at 6 days a week. It would be 3 or 4, and that feels manageable and sustainable and something that you can really stick with. And oftentimes it's like people think less is worse, but less most of the time, 90% of the time is actually better.
Yeah, so important that and that mindset or that mentality of all or nothing. Well, if I can't do 6 days, then what's the point of doing one or
Yeah.
two? It's
Yeah.
like it all counts. And
Yeah.
even even the thought of, well, I don't have a gym membership, or I'm not a member of this club or subscription or whatever. It's like you've got a kitchen. What? Or the lounge or the bedroom.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
10 squats like in the
Right.
morning, at lunchtime, and then even in the evening. Do
Yes.
that every day, and it's compounds. Like
Yeah.
it all
Exactly.
helps.
Yes. Everything, movement counts. All movement counts.
Yes.
Like walking
Yeah.
your dog counts as exercise. Like that's been a huge shift for me and my clients is like going on walks more. I don't know if you get the hot girl walks in Australia, but it's very big in the US.
What is this?
Have you heard of this?
I
It's
don't think
like
so.
since COVID, it's like you'll just see girls out in their like cute little outfits with their Lululemon belt bag and just like walking, and they call it their hot girl walk. And they're just like,
Cool.
yeah,
Own it,
they're just,
girl.
I know. I was like, and that is exercise. And
Yes.
it all counts. It's all movement. It's all good for you. And walking is like one of those things that even myself, I was like, no, that's not exercise. And I'm like, no way. That is for sure
Mm.
exercise. And it's a really great, easy way to get back into movement when you've kind of not been in it for a while.
Yeah. And a little off track, well, kind of, but not really. The walking thing, definitely. And recently, I probably in the last 10 to 12 months, I've been studying a lot more in breath work and
Mm,
how you can get fitter just by doing breath holds and whatnot. And so, even including that in my walks has been a game changer in how I feel, and and transferring that into the gym as well. So
yeah.
whilst you think it's not high intensity, it's not doing anything, actually it is, and there's so many ways that you can make it, I guess, that harder, quote unquote, so that it does feel like you are working out, so to speak, if that's what you want to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
yeah.
love that. There's so many benefits to walking, to breath work, to stretching, to like there's just so many ways to move. I think people just get set in this like I can't make it to the gym. It's like, okay, well, what can you do? Do you have 10 minutes? Do you have the squats? Can you do some breath work with Jackie? Like, are there still things you can do? And if not, make it happen into your daily life or
Yeah,
kind of put it in your schedule, put it on your calendar. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes, like that's all that count. Like it all adds up over time. And it, like you
exactly.
said, it compounds. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So, for the person who wants to start strength training, they've seen you and they want to lift just like you, but they're a little bit intimidated by strength training and
Yeah.
weights and lifting. What's the best way to start?
Gosh, I love this because my favorite type of woman is some that's like they work out and they're like, I want to lift, and my eyes just like I love it. It makes me feel so happy because I'm stoked for you that you want to feel stronger and you want to
Yes.
feel bold, powerful in your body, whether that is appearance or just the way it makes you feel, because obviously those are different, but they still counteract or they still work together. Um, but the best way to start if someone is already moving their body is to follow a program, work with a trainer. I have this really great program. It's called Strength Training Simplified. It's literally takes you from what is resistance training to what is progressive overload, and then breaks down the five main compound lifts: squat, deadlift, bench press, overhead press, pull ups, that kind of stuff. And it takes you exactly through it, so that you feel really comfortable underneath a barbell or kettlebells or dumbbells around you. But then also, like, you can work with someone in person. That's really an awesome way to at least get a foundation down, and then follow a program that you can actually see your progress over time. I think we're kind of in this day and age where people will just go on TikTok or Instagram and find a workout that they like from a random influencer and be like, this is it. I'm going to do this workout. And it's like, that's not how you see progress over time. It is through a program and doing the same basic exercises over and over again, literally. And so I think finding or really understanding those main compound lifts will get a really good base going. And then you can always progress from there. Finding a program, working with a trainer, and or finding a gym that can kind of help and teach you, guide you along those two.
I've had this a lot in the past. How do you find the right trainer?
Oh, that's a great question too. I always would say first and foremost is referral based. That feels the best to me. Let's say if you were going to see a trainer and I see that you're seeing great success and that you're learning your breath work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know how to breathe while squats, and you learned it from your trainer. I'd be like, oh, I'd love to like train with your trainer, and you can always do like a one-off session, or just most trainers, I would say, in person are like, yeah, we can do a 30-minute consult or something like that. Um, I hate to say this, but typically I would stay away from like really big box places, um, gyms, just because there's tons of trainers, and the gym is usually really busy, and it's just not. Oh, I hate to say it because I'm sure there's a lot of great trainers out there that train at these kind of gyms, but most of the times it's like I'll just visually see it as a client and I'll be like, oh gosh, this is not the trainer for you. But it's easy because people are already kind of going there. But yeah, referral based, if you find someone you enjoy on social media, reaching out to them, making sure that you have some sort of like consult first, whether it is online or in person, to just see the way your body moves with them. Another really great way to do it is to like literally film yourself doing all of your movements and be like, and look back at it. And you can kind of see, like, even if you're someone that's like, I don't really know what I'm doing at all, you can see within a video what your body should or shouldn't be doing. I think that's a really great way to just like see how your body moves and to see what is different about your body, because I can squat one way and you might not be able to squat like any way at all because you might have longer legs or a shorter torso or whatever. So watching yourself is really great. Working with a trainer is really great, and or how to find a trainer. But honestly, I would say the number one way is probably referral based
Yeah.
on someone else that's using that person. Yeah.
I'm such a massive advocate for filming yourself. There are so
Yeah.
many things that you can find. And even it helps to connect your brain with your body as to what you're feeling. So you feel a certain way and then you look at it and you go, ah, that's what I'm doing. Right. So next time I know if I do it this way, I get a
Yes.
different feeling and it looks different. Right. This is how I should be doing it. It's really cool to film yourself for sure.
Yeah. You can see so many things like um sometimes it'll be like one side's stronger than the other. You'll see some sort of imbalance or some sort of like little twist, and you're like, I didn't know I was doing that. And you'll watch it, and the next time you do it, you can be like, oh, okay, that does feel this way. So
Yeah.
I'm such a huge proponent of filming yourself as much as you can,
Yeah.
and make like some gyms don't allow it, but like make sure that you just ask or see if it's okay first, and or just do it from home.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And I also think, in terms of finding that trainer, I think you can tell a lot about a trainer in the that first contact and the first consult as to what's been spoken about what's been assessed, and even any sort of assessment, health history as well. If you've
Yes.
not been sent any of that, alarm
Yeah.
bells. You should be sent
Yeah.
that.
Red flag. If they're on their phone during the
Oh,
session, red flag.
massive. And I've seen that. I've
I
seen
know.
that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, breaks my heart.
If they're touching you inappropriately in the first session, red flag. There are so many
Absolutely.
like of those. I think, like you said on the first consult, like if there's any weird uncomfortableness or you're
Yes.
not getting what you want out of it, like you just move on. That's all.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
even if you just don't gel, I mean, if
exactly.
we don't get along with everyone, personalities
Right.
clash. That's okay as well. You don't have to stick it out with someone you don't like or agree with just to train. There's
Yes.
so many people out there.
Very true. Yeah.
Let's talk about some fitness myths because there are so many, and this is always fun for me.
Yes.
So, the first one, no pain, no gain.
Oh God, this is a good one.
For those
Um,
listening, there was a big eye roll.
yeah, I know. Why do you want to feel pain? Like, I don't remember where this even originated. It could have been a CrossFit or bodybuilding or something like that is where it started, is that you should feel pain in your body in order to gain muscle strength or just overall gains, like obviously muscle gains. And so why is this a myth? You don't actually have to be in pain for your muscle to grow or for your strength to increase. You can go through workouts and not feel sore the next day, and it's still a good workout. You can actually feel good in your body during your workouts. You don't have to feel any sort of pain, any sort of like exhaustedness, out of breath. Like it doesn't have to be like that. And you still can see the gains in strength over time. I just feel like
Exactly.
there's nothing else to say besides eye roll. You don't need to feel pain. Like literally, people come to me so that they're not in pain anymore. Why would that be like a saying
Yeah.
that people still say? I don't
Exactly. And that's the other thing that people don't realize is if that you're training and you're constantly pulling up sore, your body has to work harder to recover and repair. And if
know.
it's constantly recovering and repairing, you're not actually going to get those gains and improve as quick as you'd like or as quick as you may have if you weren't smashing yourself every time and your body
Yeah,
wasn't
every
concentrating on trying to
exactly,
knit you back together.
exactly. Yeah.
Right. If you're not sweating, you're not working hard enough. It's a bit of the same.
Yeah, and I get this a lot too. And this was actually me. Like I used to want to I would chase the sweat. I would chase, like, I remember going to workouts on Saturday mornings and be so exhausted. Like afterwards, I'd be like, I just did 100 burpees. That was the hardest workout ever. I loved it. It's like, no, you didn't. You couldn't do anything the rest of the day. I'm like shaking at brunch. I'm like, oh God, that was so, like, it's like so ridiculous. When I think back at that, I was like, yeah, that was like my early 20s. I could never do that again. But I used to do that because I thought it was like cool. It made me feel good and it's all this stuff. But it's like, no, it made me feel like shit. It put my body through like so much. And oh, that's in the past. Anyways, the sweating thing though. Um, sweating thing is a lot of different reasons. First of all, it can be just genetics. Some people just sweat more than others. That's just a straight up fact. Can be hydration. How hydrated are you? How hot is it in the gym or outside, wherever you're working out? Can be your actual activity levels. So, like, for instance, I sweat a lot more when I'm running or when I'm in a lower body lift. My heart rate's a little bit higher. I'm working maybe slightly harder. And so I'll sweat a little bit more there and will walk out without any sweat if I'm doing an upper body session. Um, does that mean the workout wasn't good? Nope. It's just based on the day and how I'm feeling or how much weight I'm using, how many people are actually in the gym. It's just like there's so many things that kind of go along with that. But honestly, really just the first and foremost, it's like it's based on the person. Some people are just naturally just more sweaty than others,
Yeah.
and that's all.
We've already debunked walking is not an exercise. So it is.
Yeah.
We'll move on from there.
Yeah.
Lifting heavy weights will make you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I mean, I I don't know. Maybe we should try and do 10 bicep curls right now, the heaviest weights we can, and see what happens.
I've been doing it for so long trying to get massive and it's just it's not working out for me. Genetically,
Um,
I don't think I'm there.
yeah, this is, I think it's been debunked so many times that I think we're getting to a place, hopefully, maybe there's still some out there that still think it, but we're getting to a place where we realize that muscle building takes a lot of time. And just genetically, women are not as able to get this bulky, kind of bigger look. Even if they try their damnedest. Most of the time, it's if they see a really bulky woman, it's because they're a bodybuilder or it's because they're on steroids. Like those are like the two major reasons why you see it. But I will say also the word bulky is subjective. Some people can look at me and say that I'm bulky, and some people can look at Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife or so, whatever. I'm just making something up and call him bulky or them bulky. And it's like, it's really just based on the person. I've seen a lot of articles recently that they'll go through like celebrity women, which is so sad that this is a thing. But they'll be like, Jessica Biel, is she bulky or not? And people will be like, oh, yeah, she is. I'm like,
Oh, no
Jessica Biel? She's
way.
like, no. And so I think like it's really just based on the person and what they believe is bulky or not. But either way, muscle takes really long to put on. And for most women, it is damn near impossible to get very, very strong looking, very muscular kind of vibe, especially if you're trying to look bigger. So,
Yeah. And your nutrition has got to be on point as well.
yeah. Yeah. You're eating a ton more,
Yeah.
a ton of protein, but I'll honestly, most of the time it's more of a supplemental thing to help people get to that look if they ever even want to get to that look.
Yeah.
So,
You only see results if you work out every single day.
that is a bold-faced lie. Um, honestly, 3 days a week with my clients has seen the most success in any program that I've ever run. 3 days, not four, five, six, seven, like we're 7 days a week, 3 days. And it's just like we had talked about, right? If we are trying to build muscle, or if we're trying to get stronger, if we're trying to see progress, we need to build and take the recovery to repair so that we can build again. And so having those rest days, typically I'll do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday with clients that they'll have that day in between 48 hours or so to recover their body so that they're kind of ready for that stress again on it. And I definitely do not suggest working out every day. I definitely suggest at least one full rest day, if not two. Walking can be a great, like, kind of active recovery thing, yoga, stretching, mobility, stuff like that on your off days. Or, maybe you have 3 days a week of resistance training and then you have something that you really enjoy, like a jujitsu or kickboxing or spin or something like that that you just do just for fun. That's like your own activity.
Yeah, brilliant. And they've got to be really long workouts or nothing at all.
Yeah, another just why is this a thing? um, no, I like again with my clients, I'll like it's an hour under as like especially if they're busy people and you can get a lot done within that hour or less based on the like how much or how not distracted you are. Like
Yeah.
there's so much you can get in with that period with a warm up, a cool down, and a bunch of lifts in for you to like get so much out of it. You don't have to be there all day. 60 minutes is more than enough time. I guess that's really all I will say about
Yeah. I think studies showed that as little as 20 minutes. 3 times
Yeah.
a week is all you need. I mean, obviously, it depends on what your goals are. If your goals,
Right.
don't match that, then you would need to adjust that. But if you're someone who just wants to get out there and
Yeah.
start,
20, 30 minutes
20
is
minutes.
awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
I love your work. On your website, it says you have a no bullshit approach to fitness so you can feel like a badass from the inside out. What is a no bullshit approach? I mean, I feel like we have covered it, but like, what's
Yeah.
your
Just
no bullshit approach?
my no bullshit is that there's so much bullshit out there, meaning quick weight loss tips, detoxes, waist trainers. Like there's all these things that are so bad for you, let alone the actual act of doing them, that it's becoming so toxic that I'm trying to rid the bullshit so that you can see a clear, sustainable, healthy lifestyle. Because that is the goal with my training and working with clients is that I don't do 30 days or 60 days or whatever. It is not, there is no timeline on your fitness. It is for life. I want you to be fit and healthy and happy for life. And with that feeling comes being a badass from the inside out. Because if you can show up for yourself in your workouts, why can't you show up for yourself in your relationships, in your work life, and in your own life? All of that shows up in so many other aspects of your life. So if you can do a pull up or a push up or whatever, why can't you be a badass in all these other places too?
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that so much. Tara, this has been so sensational. How can people find you if they want to follow you and laugh at all the ridiculousness that's out there that you're calling bullshit on, or if they want to train with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, it's Tara LaFerrara on pretty much every platform, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, all the things. And then my website is also taralaferrara.com. I offer a bunch of different ways we can work together virtually. So would love to chat. Also, DMs are always open. Love chatting with you guys over on social media too.
Amazing. Wonderful. One last question.
Okay.
For those tempted or triggered by the 8 week bikini body challenge or the lemon detox tea for weight loss and skinny shakes and all the other shit out there, what can we do to refocus ourselves on what is right for our body and our minds and our health?
My thought with that is going back to what we first talked about. How is it going to make you feel? Really and truly. Like you set out to do this. Okay, try it for one day, try it for 1 hour. But I don't know if you know this about me, but I did the lemonade detox tea, but I like the 10-day fast, like way back in the beginning of my journey. I lasted like 4 hours. I felt terrible. And then I went to go get a cheesecake because I was like, and then I felt worse. And then I just like there were so many shitty things. But go into it and try it and then notice how you feel. I actually sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, see how it feels for you. Because you know that it's not going to feel good. You know deep down inside that this is not going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel worse. And even though you think that because you want to be a smaller size to fit in the bikini or the dress or whatever, that's not who you are. And that's not going to make you feel better about yourself. It's going to make you feel so much worse. So try to stay clear of them. There's so many incredible people online that can push you the other direction and that can guide you into feeling just the most powerful, beautiful human that you can be, and just really trying hard not to fall for all of the products out there that make you feel like a smaller or lesser version of you. You deserve the world, and the world is not made from detox teas.
Yeah, I love that. Yes. Oh, Tara, thank you so much. This has been so wonderful chatting with you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
That was Tara LaFerrara. Go check her out on Instagram. She's so wonderful to watch and follow. And I have to say, I like to curate my feed so I'm only seeing posts that have a positive impact on me. And when when she posts one of her BS posts, it's absolutely hilarious, but it also still kind of shocks me to this day that this stuff is still circulating in the health space. So go check her out. She's awesome. Funny, hilarious, all of the things. The links are also all in the show notes to all her programs as well, so check those out. If you loved this episode, share it with your friends, rate and review it, and of course subscribe, because it all helps this podcast go that much further. I appreciate you and your time, so thank you for tuning in today. If you want to get in touch with me, you can head over to Instagram, where you can find me at JackieTan_RMT. That's JackieTanN_RMT. I would love to hear from you. Until then, have the best day, week, month, and year. And here's to a world of bodies built better.